Dumb, 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 dumb. Decisions.
Hello, and welcome back to Dumb Decisions. My name is RenderPeace, and I'm here with my good friend Meacho. Meacho, how's it going?
I'm doing good, dude. My name is Meacho, and I've just been riddling myself with dumb decisions. I can't help myself.
What kind of dumb decisions? You got anything on the top of your head?
Well, I just can't stop saving the universe. You know, I don't care about me anymore. My life is now for the cause, brother. All right? My life is forfeit. I only care about devoting myself to democracy.
Okay, I was hoping you would say that. So yeah, spoiler. We're talking about Helldivers 2 and spreading some democracy today.
You're god right I'm talking about Helldivers 2, man.
You're pumped about this game. I'm pumped.
Yeah, because it's consumed my soul and my balls. And I don't know what to do.
That's your go-to. You've said that before, that it consumes your soul and your balls. I think that the last time you said that was Baldur's Gate. I don't know. I'll have to keep a tally on that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Helldivers 2 is taking the place by storm, right? So before this game was released, I was hearing about it coming out, but I don't know, I sort of had interest in it, but not really. And it wasn't until I gave you a call a couple weeks ago, and we were like, hey, what are we going to talk about next, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, hey, did you hear about this game? And I was like, just thinking about buying it, so then we both pulled the trigger that day.
We were picking up on each other's ether, you know? I think we just knew. Knew.
And I think that was a great decision.
I didn't know it was a thing, by the way. I feel like that's kind of my thing lately. I don't even know. I want everybody to know that I'm not like an informed gamer. I'm not up to date on anything that's really happening. I just kind of it happens, and then I'm here, and then I can comment on it. And Helldivers 2 is just another situation. I didn't know Helldivers 2 existed. I was at work, which happens to be an eatery, and there's a bar there, and there's a local crazy guy that comes to the bar all the time, and he's always drinking and, just having a ball. And he knows I like to video game, and he brought up, hey, do you know about Helldivers 2? I said, what are you talking about? He said, just look into it. 5 minutes after that, I am looking into it on my phone at work, instantly realizing, holy shit, this game looks cool. And I was just looking at, like, basic gameplay. This was prior to its release. And then that confirmed that day of release, I absolutely will spend the $40 to buy it, and have been just at war with myself ever since, because I don't sleep. I only defend democracy, brother.
This is the first time that I've seen you so invested in a game. Like, normally, especially if it's a multiplayer game, you'll play it, and if our friends are online, like, you'll play it with them. But I think you were sick last week, and every single time I would check the PlayStation app or I would hop on PlayStation, you're playing, and it's one of the first games where you out-leveled me, like, exponentially almost.
Yeah, I know, that never happens.
That never happens. I feel like I'm always the one that kind of grinds it out, but it's good to see that you're putting that devotion into a game. So now that we've given it this high praise, explain to the people, how do you spread democracy? What happens?
You know, with a hope and the prayer, quite frankly, because this game is just cinematically brutal. The situations that you find yourself in are such a pleasant surprise. I haven't experienced a dopamine rush like this game since Apex Legends 2019. And quite frankly, even acknowledging that and how much I enjoyed that game being introduced into society, I feel like this game's even more potent for several reasons. One, the cooperative nature of it.
Okay.
Myself and 3 other brothers can group up into a squadron that just hell dives into a foreign planet with crazy territories all around, and I have to fight either bugs or evil robots. And either way, whatever decision I choose will lead me to 12 to 4 minutes of an absolutely insane experience, down to the situations that you find yourself in, the amount of enemies that you have to deal with, the progression system, the ability to choose so many different types of weapons and attributes that are at your disposal, down to the technology that your ship has, the different types of artillery and gadgets that you have at your disposal.
Just to give like a baseline understanding of what happens in the game, you are a group of 4. It's a co-op team of 4, and you are dropped down into this alien planet, and you have a spaceship that supports you from the sky, and it can drop you supplies and stuff like that. And there's either alien bugs or alien robots, and they have little objectives on the map where there'll be like little robot camps or alien or bug layers, and you have to go destroy them. And then there's always a main mission, and the main mission differs based on what you choose to do. But in any given mission, you're tasked with, I don't know, going to launch a missile from a certain site, and then you have to get back onto the evac ship. You don't have to. Failing is okay, but the incentive is that you make it out alive.
Well, you can only technically... Failure is only okay in this game if at first you succeed. Because if you don't complete your main objective, it was all just a waste of your time. They literally label it 0 out of 5 stars, worthless sacrifice.
Yeah. So there's a main objective. If you complete the main objective, that's the objective. You have a limited number of lives. I believe it's 5 lives per person, roughly. I don't remember if that changes with the difficulty. But so you basically have 5 respawns, and you will use your respawns. It's not the kind of game where you can play with your friends and just have a little bit of fun friendly firing each other. Because if you do that a little bit too much, you're going to fail.
You're punished for it, especially on the higher difficulties. Maybe you can fuck around and shoot your friend in the head on like medium, or dare I say it, even extreme. But anything after that, it's probably a waste of your time to be killing your teammates, because you need to save your lives, because you're going to die. You're going to die a lot. You're going to die in brutal ways that you don't think you can die like.
And your body goes flying.
You're ragdoll.
500 feet.
The ragdoll physics in this game are cool. Really
fun.
Cool.
It's just, this is a game that the developers really cared about fun. And that was the focus. There's no other focus in this game besides like, you're just going to come here and have fun. And I think that's why it's taking everybody by storm. Because I don't think people generally like co-op experiences as much as they're liking this.
It can get dull quick, and these guys have figured out a way to circumnavigate that. And you're absolutely right when you said they focus on fun, because they do. If you notice, the game is relatively bare. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it outside of its extremely captivating gameplay. Like, they got the gameplay so right, more or less, that it frees them up to put other things that are supplemental on the back burner, which we know are going to come.
Well, so let's talk about that, because I agree with you. It is a very barren game, and it kind of goes into one of the conversations we've had before about, like, do you want a completely functional game or kind of early access? This feels like an early access kind of version.
100%, and I'm happy for it. Fine.
Yeah, because what do we say in that conversation? What matters is the bones, right? Correct. And the bones of this game are awesome because it puts you in these chaotic situations. Even on the easy levels, you're going to end up in a chaotic situation that's cinematic and movie-like, you know? Mm-hmm. And crazy things are going to happen. You're going to be... I think what's fun about this game, and I think I just realized it now, is the scarcity of resources makes it that much... There's that much more at stake. You know, every bullet counts. And there's no other game like that.
Yes, it does. And tiny sidetrack, I love the reloading mechanism in this game. The fact that you don't auto-reload. Every shooting game I personally have played, you have to auto-reload. I'm sorry. The software gives you the ability to just auto-reload. It'll just do it for you. In this game, you have to manually do so. And something so simple, to me, is so significant. And I love it.
and it's perfect because it adds pressure.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's fun, is because it adds pressure to this.
Pressure. It's so enticing, even with the stratagems. You gotta click-clack your way into all these little combinations, and I gotta tell you, brother, I up 7 out of 10 times, and I gotta redo it. But I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
Real quick before we talk about stratagems, because there's a lot there, and for people who haven't touched the game, that's a big word. But just to hit you, because I think there's a little more to talk about on the reload mechanic. You don't reload per bullet. You reload per magazine.
Yes, you do.
Don't
waste your ammo. Don't waste away your ammo, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
the player who, in Call of Duty, I could be having an LMG. Yeah. I'll spray a guy. I'll hit him in 4 kills. I only did 4 shots, and I'll reload. And you know what will happen? I'll get killed on the spot. And in this game, if you reload after killing an enemy or 2, you're out of ammo. You only have like 5 or 6 magazines.
You can find yourself in very dire circumstances very quickly. Things can go from real good and you're cruising to just fucking hell real quick.
Well, and then they can come right back.
Potty mouth words a lot. I apologize to the listeners. It's just my testosterone is flying, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand this game does things to you.
So yes, you end up in these great situations, it feels good, and then you end up in these horrible situations, and then you come right back. And what makes you come back is the stratagems that you were talking about. Essentially, they're air support from your ship, and they come in the form of different things like ammo. You can have a jet come by and like carpet bomb the area. You can drop in turrets. You can drop in orbital cannons, lasers, like just things that are going to be very impactful on the battlefield.
There's a whole bunch of fun little things. There's just so many.
There's
gadgets.
The one you like to use, the machine gun. The railgun.
Yes. So yeah, there's sentry turrets. There's mortars. There's auto cannons, and then there's just straight up gun deployments where you hell dive down a huge machine turret and you get to lay waste. But it's got its drawbacks because it turns really, really, really slow, and it just gives you a sense of fragility, even though you have overwhelming firepower behind you. You're like a, what do they call it? A glass cannon? That's what you're kind of thing?
So it's interesting because these kind of mechanics, these stratagems, are what in a Call of Duty game they would be a kill streak, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing about the kill streak is you have to do good. You don't always get them. These you have on a relatively short cooldown. You can get them in a minute or 2 minutes.
Correct. But it punishes you too, because if you don't use it properly, you're not only screwing yourself, you're screwing the entire team, you're screwing the entire operation. Because I myself have just completely laid waste to my teammates several times due to my negligence in situations where I probably shouldn't have done that.
Right, because, and we kind of touched on it, but just so we're clear, friendly fire is on always, no option to take it off. You will kill your teammates if you're not careful.
And I love that.
And that adds to the pressure. I think that's, I'm realizing as we talk, the fun in this game is the pressure that it puts you under.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's nice. It makes me feel all warm.
So the stratagem system gets even cooler because it's not just these heavy artilleries that you call in. How do you call them in? Tell me how you call in a stratagem.
You have to throw in a series of rapid movement button succession mashups, like down on the left, or I'm sorry, down on the D-pad, left on the D-pad, right on the D-pad, up on the D-pad, right, left, down. It's just you have to hit in relatively quick succession to activate these effects, but in the middle of combat, being able to actually perform these things as opposed to being able to perform them when you're just walking around or just exploring, it's two different things. When you have an army of horrible bugs on your ass and you're out of ammunition and you're low on stamina and you're trying to run away and evade certain death while at the same time trying to get in some of these combos for some of these supplemental
It's like heavy artillery.
Yeah, it can be it's a nightmare, but it's such a rush.
Well, so there's two. Sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say they make you work for it. They make you work for it in this game, and I like that. It's not on easy mode. You're not some superhero. You're a total human. You're a total human that
actually
make
just
mistakes.
fodder.
You're absolutely fodder. That's all you are.
Yeah.
But you want to be better fodder than the most. All right, I'm done talking. Go ahead.
I like two things immensely about the stratagem system. First is inputting a stratagem, so you press L1 and then you dial in a D-pad code. It feels like an old school cheat code, like a PS2, like Grand Theft Auto, like up, down, left, right, circle, circle, R1, R2, you know, like those cheat codes to reset your health, to get all your weapons and stuff like that. It kind of brings that vibe back, and that's just nostalgic for me. The other reason is something about it. So it feels like you're actually dialing a code in a way.
No, you feel like you're doing something. You feel like you're an actual like space technician.
Right. It's not just like you're not just pressing buttons in an order. Like you have to intentionally stop and sit there and dial on your watch.
You have to do. That's another thing. Certain things like activating radar beacons or triggering a bomb or a detonator in some way, shape, or form, or getting launch codes. Like you have to do series of specific tasks within this monitor while there's chaos going on around you. So ideally you have teammates that are fending the area off while you're able to actually sit there for a second and activate all these different types of tasks that you have to activate manually.
Yeah, and I think that just the sound design of, you know, pressing the button and the game design of pressing the button is just such a dopamine rush. I think one thing that's actually kind of key is it's on the D-pad, right? So it's on your left hand that you have to hit this button with. You have to hold down L1 and do a D-pad on controller, right? But so what are you going to do? You're going to type it with your thumb, right? But then you have to take your hand off your running stick.
Yes, you do.
So it puts you in this really chaotic situation that I think is unique to controller. I don't think you have that experience on PC.
It'd probably be a little bit different. But nonetheless, I don't care because we don't play on PC. I don't give a shit.
Fair enough.
You know, we play on controller.
So, Wild, I'm going to show you, and I'll find a way to show people. But some people were saying that how they do it so that they don't have to take their hand off is they keep their hand on L1, they run forward, and they take their right hand off the wheel.
Professional plays.
And start punching in the code. Dude, that's chaotic. That's chaos. It's not natural.
No, that's a weird. I won't do that. But
that's what I thought.
Yeah. What, did you try it?
Not yet. I haven't played since I read that. But think about it. It's just like in the game. They pull up their wristwatch on the left hand and then they type in with their right.
That's
just more immersive. It's more immersive.
Dude, that's actually that's true.
It's meta, dude.
That's a meta play.
Yeah.
It probably is tactically efficient too. We should really start thinking of upping our game. I think we got to be better.
I'll try it. I'll let you know how it goes, but initially it doesn't sound great. So the kind of meta side of it, of this game, like this involvement into the real world, is kind of interesting too. Because I know you said you don't stay informed on games and stuff, but I browse Reddit often, and the Helldiver community, like the first week or so when the game was released, was just so funny to see the posts in there, because it was just memes and everybody's like, they're a soldier in this world, and they're like, soldiers, we need to gather on this planet and we're dying here, we need to spread democracy. I don't know, it was just a fun
people are getting passionate, man. It's cool.
Yeah. It's bringing the game outside of it itself, in a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it's community engaging. It's absolutely community engaging because it's a community-driven game. Think about it. Even the entire galactic space map.
Yeah, talk about that.
Every other user that is playing this game we're all technically on the same side. We're all in the same army. We're all the same fodder. We're all the same first line of infantry grunts that have to drop on these planets and secure these thresholds. And we build off of each other. The more squads out there that are succeeding in their missions increases the likelihood of us securing planets or defending planets, because the enemy has the ability to push Earth back. If I've gathered anything from observing the map, you have the automatons on your left-hand side of the map, and on the right-hand side you have the terminids, the bugs. And I think if we fail in certain planets, they have the ability to push us back farther to Super Earth, which I'm thinking, you know, if I was a dev, I'd probably have my finger ready to hit a couple of buttons that really shake it up and have them attack different places and in surprise time zones and freak people out and kind of change the course of the map.
So that map, just to kind of explain it, the way it works, if you're just listening, you have it looks like just this futuristic map, like war room kind of table that pops up on a hologram. You have Super Earth in the middle, and then these clusters of galaxies, I think is the best way to call them. And the galaxies have like 3 or 4 planets in them, right? Depending on whatever. And what happens is these planets, at least right now, the game's only been out about 2 weeks, at least right now, most of the sectors are dominated by Super Earth, so they're liberated planets. But when the game first came out, there was only one sector of planets that was occupied by the automatons, which are the robots, right? And over time, they were giving us missions, like the daily quest. Everyone shares a daily quest, which is awesome, by the way. Yeah. You don't have to like worry about doing one that's harder than the other. Everybody does the same thing. So it's like even on that day, everybody wants to do the objective you're going for, you know? And our objectives were all about kill the bugs, kill the bugs, kill the bugs. Well, because of that, nobody was focusing on the automatons, and now they kind of expanded and taken over 2 new sectors of the galaxy.
Surprise attacks.
Right. And it goes even further than that. And I think, so the idea is this community-driven story. Depending on how we play, how we do, not just how we play, but how we do, affects the story as a whole and what happens. And from my understanding, they have a sequence of kind of planned events that could happen, but they also don't know how the community is going to react. So they were saying that the story, in a sense, is going to change with how we change, and like there might be surprise attacks. There might be, they might have a whole surprise attack planned out, but then we do something that kind of interrupts that, and then they have to completely change it, and they're going to react to us. So it's kind of this cat and mouse game with the game makers.
How cool is that? What other game is doing that? I'm not aware of any. That's brilliant.
It is, and you know, so this game blew up, right? Got way more popular than anybody ever thought. And, you know, streamers are jumping on this, and YouTube content creators, and they're like, hey, you know, like, oh, this is the best solo, this is the best blah, 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 and this is, like, the best farm. And so what the best farm is there's these missions, they're like 12-minute missions. You only defend an area, right? The problem is, in order to do one of these 12-minute missions, you have to join an operation. And that operation is 3 or 4 missions together. And what people are doing is they're starting the operation, doing the 12-man mission, and then abandoning the operation.
Yeah.
Guilty. Well, that counts as a fail. You traitor. You're a traitor. You're an automaton.
What do you mean? I'm not a traitor, dude.
Yes, dude, it's a fail for democracy. It actually acted if you don't complete an operation, if you skip it, if you decide to go to a different operation, or you fail, the computer gets points.
Oh,
you don't get points per mission.
Humanity is ruined because we're all too greedy. I'm doing that stuff all the time. I'm a space pirate at this rate.
Dude, you are a traitor to democracy at this point.
Dude.
That's why if you look, So if you look, we've failed almost all the defense missions against the automatons. They're attacking us and they're taking back super Earth planets, and people are farming the missions because they only appear on the automaton planets.
So you're telling me that this is going to bear serious consequence in the
It
next
already
phases
has.
of... Oh my god.
It already has. That's so cool, dude. That like no other game has this
I don't
reach.
think people know that. I think we got to spread the word. Is that something that people are actively aware of?
It just got confirmed today by the devs. So we're dating the recording. It's February 26th, but it just got today.
Damn.
So, yeah, man. Like, I didn't like the farming. I like that. I like that there's consequences for playing the game the way it's not meant to be played.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the consequences are not just your consequences.
No, man.
But,
it's a shared effort.
Yeah. So hopefully,
What's
I don't
mine
know.
Is yours. Because I messed up, you're screwed.
Well,
the
dumb
automatons
thing
are probably going to get closer to Super Earth.
Yeah. The dumb thing is, like, even if now I'm like, okay, I will not abandon a mission, which is my goal going forward. From here on out, you have my word, soldier. I'm never abandoning a mission.
You're right. Hey, me neither, dude. Me neither.
If I fail, I fail. But I'm not abandoning.
I fail. I'm not abandoning. Hell no. I'll reinvigorate my spirits for democracy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what I want to hear. If we accomplished anything today, that is exactly what it is. I don't know, man. There's so much to just praise these devs for. I mean, they're incredible gameplay, incredible just community engagement.
Their communication.
Their communication is very good.
What they say to us is really neat.
I think one thing, we talked about microtransactions, and one thing that I brought up in that conversation is something I'm very fond of, is this idea of this rogue company coming out and releasing microtransactions that are gumballs, a couple dollars, Yeah. It's like $3-4. Here, you have a cool skin. If you don't want it, no big deal. But if you want to give us $3, sure. And you know what? I'm gonna give you $3, and I'm gonna buy that skin, even if I think it's stupid. I'm gonna buy it.
No, they're playing their cards right, man. I like them. I like the way they do things. They can, for some reason, I want to give them my money.
Well, it's because they're respecting it, man. Yeah. They're giving you a good product. They're not charging you. The microtransactions are like $3 to $5 each, and I'm just so surprised that that's actually something that's real. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like it's on the low side as far as microtransactions go. I think more like the bare minimum of 10.
Right. And I think it's on the correct side. Let's be clear. It's the correct price for microtransactions.
Absolutely.
Micro,
Uh-huh. Tiny. Little itsy bitsies.
So, I mean, but that's kind of like the meta discussion of the game. But one thing that you mentioned you wanted to talk about, right, was the environments and the planets.
Yeah, dude.
So why don't you dive into that a little bit?
This game gives me Mass Effect vibes with that Galactic War map, by the way. I don't know if you've played that game, but it's strikingly similar in my brain. With that being said, you get to just pick from an array of so many different types of planets with so many different types of ecosystems and environments that it refreshes the game. A worry of mine when I started playing the game, even though I was enjoying it, was, oh man, am I always going to be on this desert planet? Is this just it? Is it always going to look like this? Am I going to be walking on the same map? Because that will dry out a game pretty quickly. If you're just constantly used to the same environment, I don't know. It does something to the playability levels of it long term.
Sure.
So the fact that they are counteracting that in the fruition of everything by providing you different planets, and these planets are actually different. There's a planet that's raining, and there's forests and shrubbery and trees, and then there's sand planets, and then there's ice planets, and then there's weird alien planets that look like things are made of blood, and there's a lot
ice
of different
planets?
Yeah, dude. There's extreme cold, there's extreme heat. Different maps offer different debilitators. They put a lot of thought into it, and it captivates me ever more. It just builds more into the incentive nature that this game has in terms of just, it makes me want to play more of it. It makes me want to experience more of it because I'm not experiencing the same thing over and over again. Because not only are the maps different, but to simply digress into the difficulties, when you raise the difficulties, it changes yes, it's harder, of course, but it changes the overall experience because you'll encounter different enemies than you would in the earlier stages of difficulty. When you raise the difficulty, new enemies appear, ones that you've never seen before, ones that have different abilities. They operate just differently. The size of the patrols change, the nests change, everything changes, and there's just
more enemies too. I think that's the main scaling factor for difficulties, the amount of enemies.
Yeah, absolutely, and boy, do you notice it. You notice it immediately, and the fact that there's so many different difficulties on top of that. What are most games? 3 to 4 difficulty levels?
Yeah.
What is this 9? Game? Like 9?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I played a game with 9 difficulty levels. Do you?
Hold on, let me bite back at that because the first 3 or 4 difficulties are never going to be used.
No. Well, then again, so during the phase of this game first coming out, it had its technical issues of the servers being full, right? Which we'd like to think at the time that we're recording this has been relatively corrected. It's not perfect, but there's been massive improvements.
Right. I haven't had issues since.
Now, when we were experiencing issues and I was just, trying to MacGyver my way into playing this game by, just trying to queue a quick play without even having a game launched, it would bring me into random games. And I would be a higher level and I would quick play into these games with new players, clearly like level 1 through 5s. And we were on like 2 or 3 as far as the difficulty scaling goes. And these guys were getting messed up. Just messed up to where I don't know if I were playing with like infants or just invalids. Something was wrong. But I'm sitting here just frustrated because these guys are getting slaughtered and it's not even that bad. So I think the tier system for a player like you, you're never going to touch those easier difficulties because you're competent and your brain works and you know how to play.
Yeah, but you make a good point. Some people aren't seasoned gamers like that.
Some people are just brother. Some people are just bad. There's a lot of bad people, and they should probably be playing those lower difficulties. So these devs are nice because they're catering to the shit, but they're also catering to studs like us that are just hell diving, brother. We're hell diving, brother.
Well, to be fair, like that's probably the average gamer. There's the gamer that's the kid and the younger generations which are probably pretty into and good at video games. But then there's the older generations, the parents who have 100 kids and work 10 jobs and they're still playing video games. Yeah, you don't expect them to be great, but just something to enjoy the game. That's a tangent. That's another story. You mentioned the servers, and I mean, there's not too much to talk about there. The game just blew up.
The game launched. The servers were relatively they weren't. I just don't think they were possibly anticipating the traction that they got so quickly. Everybody wants to play this game. I think people that didn't even know that this game existed immediately wanted to play this game once they heard other people talking about this game. It just spread like wildfire. It came out of nowhere and it hit like a tsunami. So go ahead.
They weren't prepared, you're right. And just to give actual numbers for context, they assumed that the peak player count would be 50,000 players, and the absolute overload, we exceeded all expectations, was 250,000 players. That's what they thought the game would have. And the servers are crashing because they had almost 750,000 players. Almost 3 times the amount of players. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. And hey, they kind of work now. So kudos to them. I appreciate that. It's not even like they're taking months and months and months. They're moving quick.
Yeah, and now that the servers are resolved, they said they had to rework their whole roadmap, So they had a roadmap of plans of what's going to happen, and now they said it's completely different. Everything that we wanted to do is out of the water because the scale is just so different that we need to readjust, which is awesome.
Yeah. Can you imagine? They're readjusting. They're evolving to the situation.
Yeah. And they have the
cool.
time
Does Respawn
to do
games
it.
do that ever? No. Just wait 2 years, 3 years.
There were some big updates, but Helldivers came out and we haven't touched it.
I don't care.
Apex. Yeah. I know you don't care. I don't think I mentioned this one point. I know we talked about the planets a little bit, so we don't have to relive the whole conversation. But you were so right when you were saying that it could get boring if you're on the same planet over and over, you're on the same map, but they change it up enough. What I'm curious about, because I don't think I've seen repeat planets. It seems every single planet is unique and different.
Yes,
I wonder if that galactic map, and this would be like cherry on top, the perfect amount of detail, if in that galactic map every single planet was unique.
Yeah.
Because it's a set number of planets. They don't change. It's always that planet. How cool would that be?
Who knows? I mean, so far, it's showcasing that that's the case. I mean, we have a sample batch right now because it's the first order of planets that are actually revealed to us, but based off of what we're seeing right now, they're all different.
How would you feel if they weren't? If this is just
they've already provided me with such enough variety that I guess I'd be content with it for a bit, but maybe down the line, hey, change it up.
Yeah.
But it is a variety. I mean, you can't say. I mean, there's how many planets are even available right now? There's easily more than 10. If you include the automatons and the terminids, there has to be, because they've opened up new sectors.
Yeah, there's probably about 10 that you can actively get on.
Yeah,
and there's probably another
more than that. But probably in that ballpark, perhaps.
I think that it's kind of interesting. If it was unique planets, like every single one unique, in theory, you could get to a point where we never know what the planets closest to Super Earth look like.
Yeah.
If we're just always on.
Or if they push us back all the way to Super Earth, what's
Super Earth
going to look like? Are we going to fight in a city?
Yeah, that would be
big metropolis.
Wild. That would be wild. I hope we don't get there, because that means we lose. But this kind of brings up, the future of this game and what we see happening. And one of the things, and I don't know if you knew this, but so we only have 2 races, right? The automatons and the bugs. Terminids, that's what they're called. In Helldivers 1, there was a 3rd race. Did you know about this?
No, I have no idea. I didn't even know there was a Helldivers 1.
Yeah. Come on, bud. There's a Helldivers 2.
Oh, yeah. Well, I never heard about the first one.
Making sequels just for fun. Make people think that it's a sequel so that it gets more traction.
Yeah, dude. Who knows?
This is episode 2, by the way, guys.
Yeah, it is. It's episode 2.
Anyways, what was I saying?
It's okay, man. Bring it back. You're okay.
Helldivers 1. There's this advanced alien race. So my thoughts are that this race is out there and it probably exists, and hopefully there's more than just one more race. But this race just hasn't attacked to take back its planets yet.
Look at the map. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of space, and it looks like there's 2 other quadrants that are just completely barren. I don't know, for some reason it doesn't make... I mean, possibly the other 2 factions can start eating up those planets, but I'd like to think they'd introduce a minimum of at least one more race to fight. The map gives take to that making sense.
Well, when do you think that needs to happen? Like, at what point are you done with the bugs, and are you done with the robots?
Honestly, I mean, if I was a dev, I'd say a max of 2 to 3 months. Do it quicker. Do it quicker. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
But
keep the fire burning while it's still bright. Then the flame will be even stronger, and the game will just continue. If you're introducing that much diversity just a couple months into official publication, I don't know. I think it's a strength. I think it's a strength rather than waiting longer than a couple of months.
Well, but then are you stuck? Like having to, like Apex, release a new hero every season for a period of time, you know?
No, dude, don't compare this game to that.
I did that just because I knew that I was saying. But honestly, like, then if they release one in 3 months, do they have to now release one every 3 months?
No.
To keep you satisfied?
No. Then I think that gives them the tactical ability to sizzle. Turn down the heat a little bit, let things simmer. The dish is still going to be made, but let's change the tempo. Then they can start improving other faculties of the game that they might want to touch on.
Sure.
But I think having that much diversity in the relatively beginning of your journey will foster a stronger foundation for the rest of it. I think variety is key in this world we live in. We're different humans than we were 10 years ago, man. We want variety and we want it now. We don't want to wait.
And I think the factor that they're keeping us on our toes will contribute to that variety.
Absolutely. So far, everything points to them just wowing me.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible.
It truly is. I give them a lot of credit. I think these devs are doing things that haven't been done in, well, either ever or not in a long time.
So, one thing that I want to talk about is, playing this game alone is not a thing. You don't want to play alone. The game is way too hard. Do you really?
Yeah, dude. I want to play the game, and sometimes, like, I don't want to play with randoms, and I don't have any friends, so I'll just play. And if people happen to join me, they can join me, but I'll go in. Yeah, but if I'm playing alone, you bet your bottom dollar I'm not putting it on the crazier difficulties I would be doing if there was 4 of us and we were dedicated. I'm lowering the difficulty and thus lowering my rewards, but I'm still enjoying myself.
That's what I was going to say.
So I guess it depends on the reason for you playing the game. If you just want to play the game to enjoy the game, I think you can do so as a solo. Just lower the difficulty and be wise.
But I don't want to.
I know, but the rewards aren't worth it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It incentivizes you. This game incentivizes you to play on the harder difficulties. Because if you play on the harder difficulties, your rewards are far more bountiful. If you're playing on easy and medium, your rewards that you get to level up your experience are minimalized. You're getting 2, 3, 4, and 5, as opposed to getting 10, 12, and 14.
You're right. And I think you have to work for that difference. It's not just turn up the difficulty a little bit and you're good.
No, it's insane. You're in hell. Depending upon the mission, it is hell.
So, this might be a problem unique to our group of friends, but I find, let me know if you disagree, that I actually have better games with randoms than I do our group of friends. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, our group of friends, we're all very much individuals.
Yeah.
I think we all like to just play our own game how we want to play it.
Yeah, it's awful. Bad teammates.
We have horse blinders on. We are teammates through and through. I think we really only care about our own experiences, and we're selfish.
I thought this was going to be a hot take. Okay, let's go.
And
our friends suck.
We're just, well, I mean, you and me included, we are kind of
100%.
I want glory on the battlefield. I'm not interested.
You know what, though? You know what? When I play with randoms, I don't do my own thing. I stick with them.
No, I know. I stick with him, too. I stick to him like you. I tell myself, I'm going to protect these guys. Wherever he's going, I'm going, and I'm just going to shoot the bugs that are trying to go for him. I'm going to be a good guy. Yeah, but when I'm playing with our friends, I will shoot you in the back of the head just because you walked in my direction in a weird way.
Or we'll go off and do our own suicide mission.
Correct.
And then everybody's scrambled.
I mean, this game clearly incentivizes genuine teammanship.
Right.
That goes down to picking the class that you are, picking the stratagems that you have prior to actually dropping, and then, focusing fire on the same enemy and sticking close and avoiding fights when you need to avoid them, but engaging when you need to engage them together and not fragmented. It's just the game's experience can shift down to the player's behavior.
Right.
It's a beautiful game. I'm happy we're playing it. I'm happy we've talked this long about it. It deserves the praise. I think we're going to talk about it a lot more in the future because I see us just playing it for as long as we're able to play it. And I think our commentary is only going to change as this game evolves, which it will.
That'll be fun to revisit in a couple months, maybe. Just revisit where we're at with this. If we're still playing it, that would be interesting. I think we will.
Yeah.
But there's one last thing you wanted to talk about, and I want to give you an opportunity if you still want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This game, in my mind, now, granted, again, I'm a caveman. I'm not looking this up on the computer. I'm asserting this just because I think it to be true, and I could be wrong.
Live your truth, brother.
I didn't know this game. I didn't know about this game until I started playing it. Once I started playing it, as an avid cinema fan, I immediately was like, wait a second, this reminds me of the 1997 movie, I think that's when it came out, Starship Troopers. And I love that movie growing up. It was a cool movie. But I said, this video game is completely and totally inspired from this movie franchise in some way.
I agree.
Even down to the plot, the editing, the things that they threw in, all very similar to things that you saw in the movie. So it was just cool to see. And again, I'm making an assumption, an educated one, that this game was completely and totally based off of the lore that is Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have
heavy
any
inspiration
truth to that, but that's what I think.
The only thing that I can add as far as like a data point for that is on Google Trends. Have you ever used Google Trends?
I don't even know what Google Trends is, man.
It's cool. It's a feature on Google. You can go to Google Trends, whatever, and you can search something, and it will show you like data of how often that term is searched or has been searched in whatever your parameters are, the last 30, the last 90 days. So I did Starship Troopers in the last 30 days, and prior to Helldivers 2 coming out, so prior to February 10th, there was less than 10 searches a day about Starship Troopers, which seems kind of wild because the movie was old. Who's still looking this up? But anyways, after the game got released, it shoots up to 16, not that high, and then 22, and it just keeps rising. And it peaked on February 18th with 100 searches. Is this per?
See? I like to think that's a little complimentary evidence.
Yeah, man. 100 searches. That's... It feels like that's not even high enough. I feel like more people are looking that up than that. I'm missing something on this graph.
I rewatched that movie because of this game. 2 days after buying Helldivers 2, I rented Starship Troopers and watched the movie to completion and realized, God, this movie's good. And Helldivers 2 totally jipped this 100% in a beautiful way. I don't say that disrespectfully.
I'm realizing that I just completely misunderstood that data. So I don't understand what these numbers mean. But I do know that there's a correlation. There's a correlation. I just messed it up. I'm too burnt to figure it out.
It's okay,
so it's not 100 searches. It's like a correlation of the population looking it up. I don't get it, dude. I did something wrong, but that's probably my dumb decision.
I'm always doing something wrong. I mean, this is dumb decisions.
Yeah, man. Let's keep doing those things.
Hell yeah, dude. If it gets me defending democracy, I'll make all the dumb decisions I want.
Let's go defend democracy.
I'll see you on the battlefield, dude.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, dude.
Hello and welcome to Dumb Decisions. Dumb decisions. Boy, am I making a lot of dumb decisions. Dumb. Ooh, decision. Dumb. Stupid ass moronic dumb decisions.